hypnotized.
instead of just a tree.
We both did a little background upgrade without syncing. You've got looks like some degrees
I
in your
do,
background.
yes. So I've been collecting some degrees, and I've got down at the bottom here. I have my bachelor's in psychology. Oh, no sound.
No sound. Hold on. Um,
Yeah,
one
no,
second. Let's see what's going on here.
volume is a bit low, Lindsay.
Oh yeah, I know why.
Womp.
There we go. Okay, that should be working now. Yeah.
I'm
Kelly,
in.
give me a little hi, hello.
Hello, hello, hello.
Yeah, there we go.
Fun fact: I don't know how to go in Do Not Disturb mode on Big Sur.
Do you, oh yeah, I have no idea. So Kelly did the very brave upgrade to Big Sur, which Big Sur, the latest version of macOS, which I did that last year and everything broke on the Shopify side. So I've learned my lesson to wait for the IT team's thumbs up on upgrading to the latest macOS.
That's smart. I have nobody to keep me in check, so I just do the wrong thing.
Hope for the
I
best.
just took my chances. I just look at my Twitter feed to see if anybody else is complaining, and if something goes wrong, then I don't upgrade. And I only saw some people complaining about various things, and I'm like, I'm just going to take my chances.
Looking at the chat here, we've got Code Brother. Oh no, are we good? Yeah. Okay.
We should
Rookie
be
move, Kelly.
good.
No,
Yeah.
this is um
Nothing's gone wrong, so it's not a rookie move until
so
something
so
breaks.
once again, I like the setup has changed. I finally got a better laptop so that things don't crash as much, but then with that new laptop comes a bunch of different changes. So it's hopefully things are good now. I'm coming through a little. Am I looking green?
You're
No.
looking a little green at the moment. Are you feeling
Why
okay?
am I looking green? Hold on. Let me look at my camera here. I'm gonna change something.
Well, in the meantime, when audio was not actually enabled, we were talking about my beautiful new background here, and I was showing off my degrees because I finally hung up my tens of thousands of dollars in student loans.
Nice. that's that's I like to say so this you get this ring when you graduate from engineering in Canada, and
Yeah,
I like to say it's the most expensive ring that I'll ever own, even more expensive than any engagement ring or anything like that that I'll ever buy.
that's
Um,
amazing.
for the same reasons.
Yeah.
Nice big student loan that came out of it.
That was one of the most interesting things to me as, as from a cultural standpoint is anybody can call themselves an engineer in the US, but in various other countries, you have to have like a specific like certification of sorts to be able to
Oh
call yourself
yeah.
an engineer.
And even when you graduate from university in Canada for engineering, you have to then go through like an apprenticeship, and then only then can you actually call yourself an engineer. It's very
What
very stringent.
a whirlwind. What a ride. I just went to school for 7.5 years to collect some pieces of paper.
All of these things are helping us out somehow. It's maybe hard to identify off the bat, but yeah, we're here now.
We're
We're good.
here. I'm still
Yeah.
occasionally turning rainbow, and I'm not really sure why, but we're just going to go with the flow, and I'll unrainbow eventually.
Well, yeah. No, I see it flashing every now and then. Anyone else have any recommendations for group streaming setups? So I've tried oh god, I've tried Zoom. We haven't gone live with Zoom yet. I
Mm-mm.
tried Skype. Right now we're using OBS Ninja, which works well for the most part. But yeah, if anyone has any recommendations for that, always down to iterate the stream some more. Um, yeah. So what are we talking about today, Kelly?
Yeah, so today we're going to be covering two primary topics. One of my favorite topics is theme versioning, which is a bit of a pain point for Shopify theme development. So we developed our own system for it that I want to share. And we're also going to be talking about code linting, which you are definitely taking the reins on because I let my team handle that and I just follow the rules, hopefully.
This will be a nice shared effort today. I think we've got both got our sections. I'll be because I'm for versioning. We've done versioning on the themes team, but it's never like it's ultimately never led to. Well, I mean, we do it. Actually, but it was actually something that came in after I stopped like full time developing of themes. So it sounds like you're a lot more fresh on it. And then linting is just nice it's good to get it out of the way at the beginning of a project, um, because bringing in linting halfway through a project, you're just going to come out with a million linting errors. Uh-oh, we lost Kelly. There she goes. Let's see if she comes back. I'm going to talk to the chat while Kelly's getting her connection set up. It's the plants. It's the plants still. We know that. Oh, I see her there. Okay, she's coming back. Chrome keeps on crashing. Okay, wait. I see you now here. Let me see if I can get you back on the cam feed. There we go. Let me just try switching here. Maybe this is going to do it. Just some technical glitches getting started up. Oh, I gotta recopy the links. Okay, hold on. Next time, if you, oh no, because it just crashed on you. Yeah, there we go. There you are. Okay, and I'll get the screen share set up when you go to share the screen.
It's already ready to go.
Okay, no, on my end because I'm gonna need to get it set up again.
Gotcha.
There
Okay.
we go. Just some
back.
good old technical hiccups to bring us back to well, not as close to the early days, but
it's not a live stream if something doesn't happen. So
exactly, this is live. This is all part of it. I was hoping to see some what's a demo with a few glitches. Yeah, no, exactly. This is live. I was saying linting. Linting's really nice to have when you start a project. For those who are not familiar, what linting is, it's ultimately it's a way of making sure that your code is styled or that your code is consistently written throughout your project. So from style linting, just making sure that like general order of styles, like to make sure maybe you have display and position as in one of the first ones, or you can be really strict with the orders of properties and styles, so that your styles kind of look the same. And then for JavaScript, you really see it more to make sure that you're adhering to like specific ways of writing a function or
like
declaring variables or
yeah, all the things, semicolons.
so it's nice to get set up at the beginning of a project, because if you bring it in later and all of your code isn't really formatted to this kind of style that you want to have, it's just a slew of errors that you got to work through. And yeah, it's just something nice to have set up at the very beginning.
For sure. Yeah. It's part of our build process that we just have the linting files already in there. So all projects always have the same rules.
And that's it. When you get it set up for the first time, you can pretty much just copy your setup from there on. And what's nice is what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be jump starting the setup using Shopify's publicly available linting configs. So it's going to be really easy for you to pull in these default styles and styles or like configs, and then customize them as to your liking over time. It's kind of something that like you set up the defaults, and then after a while you say, oh no, I don't like this like error that I keep getting. This is just getting in the way. It's not really helping me. And then you can disable something or you can tweak the setting. I like this question. It's for you. Do you see it?
I do see it. So yeah, the question is, how did I learn to code? And is it true that I do not have a computer science background? And that is absolutely true. So these
Same.
beautiful degrees you see behind me, my bachelor's is in psychology, and I have 2 master's degrees in public health and clinical social work. So completely unrelated. I started learning how to code from a book called HTML Goodies back in 2001, I want to say. And I there was not the the vast availability of resources to learn how to code at the time. So it was a lot of trial and error and seeing what I can break. But thankfully, what was available to learn at the time also, the programming languages were also not so developed. Pun, I guess, unintended, but we're gonna go with it.
We need a pun counter. Okay.
So I learned as I learned as I went basically, and as the languages continue to get more complex, I had to, of course, keep up with it for my own work. So yeah, that's how I learned.
I think in the industry are self-taught, and it's kind of something that goes along with the craft is just enjoying to learn about, not enjoying to learn because that sounds really nerdy. But like it's true though, but
There is a
like
level of it there's a level of truth to it though, because yeah, I
yeah.
mean, especially in this field, it is so quickly evolving that nobody is ever like fully up to date. Also, I'm seeing things freeze on Twitch. Are you seeing that?
My feed looks okay.
Okay, it's just
Yeah.
me. I'm gonna refresh. I think there was a I just refreshed and I think there was a reply that I missed in the chat. If you can read it to me.
Understood. It's so challenging to get into development without a CS degree. I can see that. Maybe what you're kind of referencing is either getting clients or kind of
Your
getting
first job.
recruited. Yeah, getting a
Yeah.
job. Especially when you're getting started, it's hard to not just be able to have on your resume, oh, I went to this university or this coding camp. Um, I know at Shopify they never once looked at my GPA, or like school is it's just one way of doing it. I think the best thing to do is just to have a project that you work on that you get really into, that you can talk about during interviews and kind of show that this passion and this knowledge about this thing that you're working on and that you're capable of learning about this topic. I think you can get pretty far with something like that
Yeah, for
as
sure.
opposed to a CS degree.
And uh I'm going to plug our podcast, the Ladybug Podcast. If you have not listened to it, really great resource for. I'm biased, but little really really great resource for learning all different, learning how to code, hearing people's stories and how they learn how to code, getting the tools you need to have a successful career as a programmer or software engineer or whatever you want to call yourself. Highly recommend listening ladybug.dev, or you can look up Ladybug Podcast on any podcasting provider.
And you can post a link if you want.
Oh yeah, I can do that. Haha. I'm so used to doing podcasting. I'm like, I'll link it in the show notes.
It's an interactive medium. Oh,
What is this?
this is why we're doing this. We gotta make this as two ways possible. So everyone keep asking questions. I like this little conversation that we're starting off with.
Yeah. But
I like a nice being so Trout Soda says nice being a product of the 80s. I cut my teeth building HTML sites and MySpace customization. No CS degree here, but now a senior engineer. Yeah, and
one
that's
of us.
yeah. This is yeah. There's so many good stories of just everyone comes from every walk of life that ends up into code. You just
Yeah.
yeah. There's no set path. I gotta say.
That's why I love it. All right. You want to talk theme versioning?
Can we do a quick what's new first?
Yes, let's do let's
I
do
want to
what's
show at
new.
least one thing what's new.
Okay.
Because I'm super excited for this. It's something that I had started working on last year before going on parental leave, and Morgan and my colleagues in the performance and engineering team picked it up and brought this thing to light. So let me just share my screen here.
And while you're doing that, there was a question about some of the resources for the build process that are non-public resources. I'm going to bring that to my dev team so they will be public, so you'll have access to everything there.
Cool. So, what's new at Shopify? November 18th edition. Are we the 18th? Geez, we're getting close to Black Friday.
Ah,
So what's new? So I think maybe we showed this in an earlier stream, the online store speed report.
yeah.
When it was first launched, it was just this top section here. It was just the score, and it shows how your score is calculated, and it shows that this score is the average or of the most visited pages on your theme on your storefront. But where the so this is where we're starting to get to some really like good unique value offering, that we're starting to really have a unique value offering that separates us from just Lighthouse, and that is your speed score over time section down below here. And what this ultimately lets you do is you can forget about performance for a little bit because realistically, as either a store builder or a merchant, you're only going to be, you've got a million other things to do. You're not going to be maybe constantly checking your speed score every day to make sure things are okay. So you
Yeah.
can so you can come in every now and then, see how you're doing, and hopefully things haven't dropped. But if things have dropped, this is where it gets really cool. So let's say we're seeing a drop here. Here. So we go down 2 points on October 28th. What we can do is we can open up October 28th, and we have all of the actions that you took or that this store made on this day. So here we uninstalled a bunch of apps, and or we installed some apps and we uninstalled some apps. And so that gives you an idea. Oh, well, my performance dropped when I installed this app, or I uninstalled this app, but my performance didn't get better. And there's some interesting, we're calling this ghost apps problem with some apps going on right now. Um, so ultimately,
Ghost
this is to give merchants, to give you as developers an idea of, it's not just about the speed of when you get things set up. It's the choices that you make when you're adding apps, when you're doing, like, when you're kind of running a business, that can still change performance and lead to regressions. Uh, it's one thing to be fast, it's another thing to stay fast.
That's right. I'm a really big fan of that because I we often hear, why is my site slowing down? Why is my site slowing down? And being able to pinpoint exactly what happened at that time is a very powerful tool,
And at
especially
least
when we
gives you
can
an
be like,
idea of, like,
we didn't touch anything.
yeah, exactly. It's and so right there, it just showed installed apps, but it also shows theme edits. So if you modify some theme files, it'll let you know that on this day there was some theme file edits. And I think also theme editor changes. So if you added sections or
So if
changed
you
things around.
uploaded a 4 MB image as your hero,
And
maybe.
I haven't seen the specificity of the events, and I'm not sure how close it gets into like specific files. But it's a really good starting point. It gets you going in the right direction.
For sure. Oh, I love that. Cool.
Um, and then Morgan made sure that needed to say one last thing, is that this is really the start. We're still really at the start of kind of how do we help merchants better own, merchants and developers better own performance. Um, really looking forward to seeing more features like this come out over through next year. I've been hearing lots of things, but I can't share it with you. Just trust me on that.
Just like hopefully your code, this is also going to get better over time.
Yeah. Okay, let's jump into theme versioning.
Okay.
So,
Um
should
yeah.
I switch to your screen?
Not yet
Not
because
yet.
I still don't have access to the store. Um did you pull up the
The
Shopper
Shopee points.
points? Yeah.
Shopee points. Okay. So what we're doing here, and this is nice in the working with multiple developers, say. Um, So what we're going to be doing is, in the past, everything's been going off of my machine and Kelly's been remotely contributing. We're going to be sharing Kelly's screen today. So we're going to have really two developers working on the same store on the same theme.
All right.
So what Kelly has done is, in her partner account, she's requested access, and maybe she can show that once we share the screen. But so I haven't done this, to be honest. Where do I go to
Go home
go
first.
home? Okay. Taproom is requesting access to your store.
Nice
Okay.
and easy to find.
Very easy to find.
And I want access
You
to
got a few
everything.
permissions here. Okay, sure.
I just checked the box for everything.
Let me accept that.
And then if I refresh my end,
There. Now let me, okay, I need to first fetch your screen share URL because it's not going to show anything. Let me switch to you. Screen capture open. Yes, we know it's black right now. Hopefully this should work. There you are. Okay. Pasta nachos. One of my biggest struggles with the store speed tool is that it's not really that helpful when third-party apps load in fat JS files, and there's not much I can do about that besides drop them. Sure, I can see how bad things are, but when it's all caused by third-party assets, I can't manage or get rid of a variety of reasons, it becomes noise. So you're touching on a big pain point that a lot of us have felt, and that we're really aware of. Where it's being addressed in the scope of app sections, which was announced earlier this year and is being revisited right now, and hopefully should be available for developer preview soon. And so, what app sections is going to allow you to do is it really right now the way that apps include scripts is either through the script tags API, which is kind of a global include that it only lets you include a script in on all pages, or not. Um, that or the app has to modify the theme files, which isn't good, and that leads to a whole other slew of problems. Um, your screen is rainbow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And
There.
it's not my oh, I'm frozen too.
No, you're
No?
you're you're
Oh,
good.
I'm moving, I'm moving.
Yeah, you're
Okay.
good.
That's so weird because my camera was fine that time, but my screen was not.
Weird. Can you move your mouse around just to make sure? Yeah, no, you're good. Okay, I see your mouse
Okay.
moving. I'm still gonna push you to get a hardwire connection.
I
One
am
one one day you
working
could.
on that
Okay.
petition.
Okay, good.
I'm moving to the office across the hall, and so I'm going to put in a good word to put in a good word. Hey husband, please help. Work on
Please,
getting
sir,
that.
can I have a hardwire?
He is responsible for hanging these things as well as I just sat here and did nothing.
Is he
So
sitting across from you again right
yes, he
now?
is. He
Yeah, he
has
is.
his headphones on, so he can't
Oh,
hear
okay, he
me.
doesn't hear you. So getting back to the third party assets right now, and this is so it's a two-part equation that, from the merchant side ultimately, or from the non-technical user side, what you can do is install the app and uninstall the app if it's causing too much performance pain. And at the very least, that puts the onus and that gives the incentive to the app developers to step up their game, especially if you as a merchant or a developer is complaining like, hey, why are you loading in 600 kilobytes a meg, 2 megs of JavaScript? This isn't needed. So because ultimately this is the responsibility of the app developers. Um, so I love to hear that. We're working on it, and for now, just keep at using the store timeline, and at the very least, you'll have an idea of what apps are causing the problems.
For sure. I just want to point out this beautiful 98 speed score. Of course, this is
Ooh.
the most basic Shopify theme ever.
Yes,
Um,
the pinnacle of Shopify store experiences.
yeah. Okay. So it looks like we actually have two unpublished themes here. So,
So that's we could review. I did some changes from last time just to get us wrapped up from the last episode.
oh, okay. Do you want to preview this theme then? We can see what's in there or
So, or no, so it's the same theme.
okay.
But what I did here, I might just share before we get into versioning. That reminds me. Here, I'm just going to jump to my screen. So what we did in the last episode, so we set up some npm scripts with Node theme kit, and we're able to watch, and well, we had the deploy script set up, but we didn't merge the PR because it wasn't ready. So I came in after the fact and did some additional edits ultimately. So I set up a deploy script and a watch script, and I added just the ability to like specify what environment you're pushing to, either production or dev, and set the allow live uh,
Our
method to.
Shopify points repo is public, right?
Yeah, it's definitely public. Here,
Okay.
let me
I just pasted the link
link
in
to
there.
this.
I got
Yeah.
it.
You got it. Okay.
Yeah,
Um, so made these changes. Now we have in our. Let me make this a little bit bigger so people can see. So now we have a deploy command, so we can run npm run deploy, and we have a watch command. We can run npm watch, and it'll do its thing. Um, and all that's so going back to why I made the two stores, or the two themes. So we mentioned in the last stream that it's not really a good idea to be pushing to production or your live theme, because if you make a mistake, it's going to be viewable by everyone. So what you can do is, and what I did was Shopee Points. That's our main theme. I hit actions and I duplicated it. and then I just renamed it Shopper Points Dev. And that is now our working branch or our kind of dev store that we'll be working out of. And I set that up so that here that deploy always deploys to the development. It defaults to development environment. And then only if you run npm run deploy production will it actually push to your live theme.
Nice.
So
Okay.
that's all that's changed there. We had Lee give me the thumbs up. Thanks, Lee. Appreciate that. Let's merge. Should we merge this now?
Let's do it.
Yeah,
Let's do
let's
it.
merge it. Okay,
Yeah.
there we go. Confirm merge. Da. There we go. Delete this branch. Always clean up your branches when you're done. There we go. And now if we go back to the home page of our repo, we will see we've got our scripts folder in here and we've got deploy and watch. All those changes that we just made are now in our main branch.
Okay. And we did npm run watch for, what we were just doing. There you go.
So
Okay.
let me, here, jump me back to your screen. There we go. And so versioning. Or where were you left? Where were you leaving off?
So I was going to show you how we name our unpublished themes. So we already have the Shopper Points dev, which we'll actually be using because I'm not going to pull up my config file because
you can rename it if it's a naming convention that you use.
yeah. So usually I will do rename. There we go. So we will go dev and then the initials of whoever is actually working on it. So this would be dev KV in my case. These are important steps to take, especially when you have multiple developers working on a project and you also have merchants who are making updates within the theme customizer, like switching out images, content, links, whatever it might be, because you want to make sure that when you publish your theme, you're not overwriting any of the setting changes that they've already made. So each of our developers will have their own unpublished theme that they're working from here. On here, so I pulled down those recent changes that we just made, and I can run, actually, I'm going to open up a second tab here. So I'm currently on the main branch. Wow, this is taking a minute. There we go. I'm currently on the main branch. I don't want to be making changes on the main branch for, well, our whole point is to be using branches here, so we're not making changes to main. So the naming convention we usually use, get checkout, -b means you're creating a new branch. Again, your initials with a plus sign, and then whatever it is that you're working on. What are we working on? What should I do?
Let's get started with the linting because we're going to be doing linting after. So let's get the linting branch set up.
Okay, we're going to calling it linting. There are better naming conventions that you can use in terms of the tasks, but
it's a small project. We're a team of 2 right now.
Exactly.
We can be a little bit flexible. Yeah.
Yeah. So now you see that I'm on this branch. If I clear this out, it should switch me over. There we go. Yeah. So now I'm on KV linting. So we write npm run watch is what you put together.
Yep, that's gonna do it. So that's gonna deploy what you have. Oh, what do you got?
I need an npm install.
Yeah, there you go.
Uh-huh. First steps. When
so
you
that's
download
the only step that you need to do when you clone a repo is run npm install, and it should get everything to work. But
all right.
it is up to you to. Actually, could you have is there an action in npm in package JSON that's like post clone to automatically run npm? So I feel like there must be a way of automatically running
It'd be really
npm
cool
install.
if there was, because that'd make things a lot easier.
Yeah.
I mean, as soon as you
Anyone
try to
know?
run npm run watch or dev or whatever it is you're using, and you see that error, the first thing that I always think of is, guess who didn't run npm install?
I know it's such a hurdle to get over that npm install. Right, writing those 2 words. We got to automate it though. Automate
Exactly.
it.
Okay, so we are currently on the development theme. So now we're on this dev KV. So I'm going to preview the theme because I want to preview what the unpublished theme is looking like. It's going to open a new tab. You notice I switched to Firefox on the screen because I didn't want it to crash Chrome just in case.
Oh, because of the yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is our beautiful website. This is our score of 98 that we are we're working on here. I guess the one thing we didn't really think about here is you're going to lead the charge on linting,
Yes.
but I just created the
So okay,
branch.
so we want to switch. Do we want to set up a version like our current state? Do we want to set up like where we are right now is version? I mean, in package JSON it says version 1 right now. Um, let I'm not familiar with your like how you move forward with this. Maybe if you should we make the changes right
Yeah.
now? Yeah.
Well, I'm just gonna go. Not that I've actually used the branch, but it's only local anyway. I'm gonna go check out the say hello. Again, try to do it for actual tasks, but we want to say hello here. I'm going to pull up theme.liquid. What do we have in here? Oh, your link list that you created.
The link.
I'm going to say, whoops, hello.
Oh right, yeah.
So we just saw the theme.liquid file update. If I refresh this, we see by ZSH shortcut for
Get status.
yeah, get status. So you can see that the theme.liquid file has now been modified. So if you're going to go get, you can add individual files by typing in like layout theme.liquid. You can go get add period and automatically add everything. Or if you want to skip that step altogether, and as long as the file has been added in the past, you can just go git commit -am that adds all the files, and now you're adding a message in there. Add hello h1 tag. And then I'm going to go git push origin. Oh, I didn't even do the KV plus on there. I moved so quickly, I forgot to name my branch how I'm supposed to name my branches.
Okay, so you use a branch naming convention so that other developers know that this is your branch
I don't have push
and what you're
permissions.
working on, right?
Yeah, I don't have push permissions.
You don't have push permissions. Hold on, let me set that up. Security, I'm gonna say. No, manage access.
Pasta Nacho said, "Can we take a moment to appreciate that Top Kelly, me, uses Window Tidy, and Window Tidy is awesome." I absolutely love Window Tidy. Funny story, I installed Window Tidy when I had to send my Mac off for repairs because I do every single time I buy a Mac. Side story. And I installed Window Tidy and it did not work. And so I installed a different screen snapping tool, and then Window Tidy started working the next time I restarted my machine, and now I have two of them on there. So I just alternate between the two of them because that's exactly what I need. Two of them.
Okay, so you've got an invite waiting for you, or I can send it to you if you don't see it, and I'll send it to you in Slack. Oh.
Okay. Yeah, I want to make sure it pulls up on.
So what we're doing right now is because this repo is made under my user, only I by default have access to kind of push code to it. Other people can open PRs for it. So Kelly could open a PR, but she'd have to fork the repo first, and it's just a bit of a workaround. So ideally, we just give her full permissions.
I'm doing this on my other screen just to, I have to use Authy and authenticate my login and everything. So I figured I'm not going to bother having everybody watch me do all this. 899623. Okay, did right. Okay. So now we have the repo that I have access to. So if I come back here again. All right. I've created my branch. It's no longer just local. It's now available on the remote on remote here. So you'll be able to say hello right here, and it automatically knows that I just had recent pushes on here. So it's suggesting that I create a pull request. So one of the really handy things, and we have it on the other repo, but not this one. Oh no, that's for something entirely unrelated. One of the things that we use internally at the tap room is we use pull request templates. So when you're working on a team, this is really, really helpful for you to always, like, every developer uses the same exact format, the same exact structure to actually complete the pull request. And this includes things like, why are you making this change? What files are changing? Are there any like comments that we need to be aware of? Anything, and then actual test links as well. So if we're having to point to like we made a change on the product display page, we can provide a link to actually that product display page within the Shopify preview link. So it saves the time from another developer who is going to review the code from having to actually go in and hunt that page down.
It's a great way
So
to make sure that like just putting a checklist of all the things that you need to have in your PR, basically.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to do another thing, and I can actually just show an example of one of ours, but I'm going to pull up the project on my other screen. Okay. So here is one of my devs working on a project where he created a branch called feature-crowbox TV. He is one of the sole developers on this project at the moment, so different naming convention. But you can see link to the Basecamp to do, a link to the preview theme, direct link to the page if necessary. So again, links directly to this Crowbox TV blog. Why this change needs to occur, a high-level overview of the changes, so somebody who comes in doesn't have to hunt down what's happening, and then the main files that change. The reason why we include main files that change is sometimes you have additional files involved in there, but those are not, the other ones are not necessarily the ones that really need the code review. We require code reviews for every single pull request internally. So somebody else on the dev team has to check off on it in order for the actual merging to happen. Unless you're me, and then I can use my administrator privileges to do it. But most people are not me.
We have the same policy at Shopify that it's I mean, if it's a small repo and it's just you or you're kind of working on a side project, then anything goes. But if you're committing to like Shopify core, you need at least 2 people to review it and give you the thumbs up.
Yeah,
Um,
it's just good practice because when you get so close to working on something, especially when it's a pretty complex task you're working on, you can make small mistakes that you just didn't catch. And so it's just good to have another, or the second or third set of eyes on the code.
so we've got do we have our version set up?
Well, I didn't create the pull request. Where'd it go? I closed it. Okay. Well, I don't have the template on here. I'm just gonna create the pull request and so you can see it in there. Okay, so if you're new to GitHub as well and new to pull requests, occasionally you're going to see merge conflicts in here, where basically you have the same page, the same file being changed in 2 different places on 2 different branches, and you have conflicting lines there. So instead of automatically overwriting what's newest there, it tells you there's a merge conflict. So you have a chance to merge somebody else's changes that have already been pulled in that you did not pull down locally with your new changes, so nothing gets lost.
Mm-hmm.
But this means that there are no conflicts, so you can just merge the pull request. And as we love to do, delete the branch once you're done.
And now,
So I think it's important to note that I don't do I don't use the versions of the projects on GitHub because it can get really annoying. But one of the things that we'll do is once I've made changes, I have sent over the link to the client to review the code changes or review whatever I did. I get the thumbs up. What I do then is duplicate the live theme, get the theme ID, which I'm not going to pull up right now, call this staging, make sure everything looks good with all the changes merged, whatever's newest in the theme customizer is live and available, along with my code changes. And once that one's ready to go, then I will just increment. I'm just going to rename this one for fun so you can see. So if this was originally like 1.0, oops, I missed the 1.0.0, new theme is what we started with or whatever. I made the changes. So I would come in here and if it's a feature, if it's a new feature, increment the second line, so 1.1.0 and name it here. If it's a bug fix, increment the third 0 there to say, or for whatever needs to be done, just so you always have like a record of the versioning there. So that's
and
how we
so
do it.
what you're working off of is semantic versioning.
Yeah.
Um, for those that who, if that's I'm sure people anyone kind of working with computers have seen this syntax of like 1.0.1 or with the kind of numbers dots. What we're using here is semantic versioning. So the first number is always a major release. So you only would go from version 1 to version 2 if you're making a really big change and technically a breaking change,
Yeah.
something that requires and this is more applicable like say in apis, requires a developer to change something, otherwise version 2 won't work at all.
Yeah.
The second number is a minor update, so think you should be able to just update to 1.2.0 and everything should just work, but you've got new features. And then the last number, the is like a patch, so it's really like, oh, there's a bug and let me push this incremental fix. And that too, you should be able to update it automatically. Um,
Exactly.
so you'll see this is used a lot in package JSON in all of your npm dependencies. This is how npm dependencies work. Yeah, you'll see it everywhere. It's just a handy concept to have in your toolkit.
For sure. So we depend on this, and as you know, we release new features occasionally. We we never make mistakes in our code. So I mean, I'm
No, no.
hypothetically speaking here, but if you were to make a mistake in your code, you can then go back to the previous versions and see which version was last working, and then compare the branch that you merged those changes in, and so you can see exactly what changed at that time
And with the branch, you'll be able, because you deleted your branch, but you'll still be able to see the changes in your PR,
in the
like
PR. Yeah,
because
that's what I should
your
have said.
pull
The PR.
request, and that's a nice way. Another reason to work with PRs, it's just a really easy way to go back and see kind of a concise list of changes that have happened to your project.
Yeah. We also use labels in GitHub as well. So we might label something awaiting client approval. So the pull request is going to sit open because we don't want to merge it until we have the official okay from the client that they're ready to go live with this. So we tag it, we label it with awaiting client approval. So anybody on the team knows exactly why this is still open.
And this is all so, and I like this because I'm not sure how many people watching are working on teams, but if at any point, even if you're working with a client or another developer that's worked with a client, I think there's going to be a time where you're not going to necessarily be working alone. So just being able to bring to the table like, oh, okay, well, we can manage it this way, and yeah, workflows totally change from like when it's just you alone to when you're working with other developers.
Exactly. The nice thing is you can start forming these habits now. So when you do start working on a team, you already have a general lay of the land of how pull requests should be working, and all of that. But also keep in mind when you're joining another team, they probably already have processes in place that they'll just add you into. One of the things that I love to see when we're doing developer interviews, when we have open dev positions, is we look back on your dev test and we look back to see how many commits you're actually making. So you're not just committing all of your changes all at once, for example. We're looking to see, are you using pull requests by yourself? There are plenty of people who do that. So it's really cool to see exactly how familiar people are with using Git and GitHub to kind of gauge how well they'll be able to collaborate with other developers.
How stringent are you on commit history and like commit cleanliness? Are you kind of enforcing like clean, concise commits that are like, okay, step A, step B, step C, or
The reality is we end up jumping around so much when you have 15 different active clients at a time. Not everybody's working on 15 client projects by any means, of course, but context switching will make you forget to commit changes occasionally. So we're not really strict on it. We just want to be able to see that you're not suddenly making one commit that's called hi that you've somehow managed to change 2,000 files.
yeah, you don't want to be going into share my screen. You don't want to be going into the list of commits, let's say, which is here, um, and seeing something like equals add, like, or occasionally it might be okay, but like especially if something's not working and you make like a test commit and you commit it and you kind of do a bunch of commits just to get it work, that's a good excuse to, okay, get it to work with your commits and then clean it up after,
Exactly.
either using Rebase or one of
Squashing.
the UIs, one of the GitHub or Git UIs that
Yeah.
can help you do that.
Good question from one Emax. How would a CS student get ready for this stuff then, practicing Git, etc.? The nice thing is you don't have to be working on a team to start practicing these at all. So if you start your own project, go ahead and create a GitHub repo for it and practice the same behaviors, even if you're the only developer on the team. I think you can. I have some public GitHub repos on my end where you can see that I'm kind of doing the same thing as I'm working on my own personal site, for example, just because it is a public repo. And if I want other people to have access to it and see the changes that I made over time, you're still able to track your own history there. So I can link to my GitHub and see what's in there. GitHub, Kelly.
Got another question. How do you support merchant-led app installs on a production theme when you're using a versioning system through Git? We struggle to keeping our merchants app changes and our theme changes in sync. Thank
Yeah,
you.
it's a tough issue to work through. And this also goes with occasionally you'll work with a merchant who has like another developer like internally who makes changes here and there. So we use Basecamp for project management, and we have a thread that we start called theme changes. And anytime a merchant changes any theme or any file on their theme, they post in that thread saying, I updated this file or I installed this app. So we know to go ahead and pull down the live site, compare changes, create a pull request with those changes, and merge in those file changes alongside with the reasoning why that happened, being that an app was installed by XYZ or app support changed theme files, whatever it might be. So again, we're keeping that history in sync with everything else that we're doing.
And that's the general approach is just like for agencies or for developers to say, hey, don't do anything without me knowing.
Yes.
This is another problem that app sections will fix, because now apps will be able to be included just by reference instead of editing the theme files. So yeah, it's bright future moving forward. I'm looking
Very
forward to app
excited.
section. Another thing to be excited about for app sections.
Yeah. All right. You wanna lead the charge on linting?
Let's do some linting. We've got a few minutes left here. Okay. So I gave a little rundown about linting. Let me share my screen here. So what we're going to be working with today for linting are two Shopify plugins. So we've got Shopify ESLint plugin and Shopify StyleLint plugin. It's been a while since I used StyleLint. We'll see how it goes. So StyleLint is to lint and format your styles, and ESLint is to lint your JavaScript or ECMAScript. Where does the ES come from? Is it ECMAScript? ECMAScript is
ECMAScript.
ES.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. ECMAScript lint plugin. Okay.
JavaScript versioning is kind of funny. Technically, we dropped the ES5. We dropped at ES6. Like ES6 was never actually what it was called. But we were already in the habit of calling it ES5 at that point. So when the next version came out, we just immediately jumped to ES6. And that was the last major release. But technically, we're on, I guess it'd be ECMAScript 2020. It makes sense because they're annual updates.
So what should I call this branch if I'm using your versioning system?
You would do your initials and then a plus sign, and then the action that you're taking.
Add linting. I can't have. Oh, that we're good.
Cool.
Cool. Oh, we didn't format our.
Did you pull down from main, by the way?
I did not. Hold on. This git pull origin main rebase. There we go. Okay. So we've got
All
the
that
latest
good
changes in
stuff.
there.
Yeah.
So that just pulls in all the changes because I didn't. So we had made the changes to main, but my local dev environment didn't have those changes yet. So I just pulled them in to this branch without changing anything, and we're up to date. So let me go back to this. npm I never use npm I always just write.
Me too.
CSH. Oh no.
What'd you do?
npm
Ah,
npm use. I have a new dev machine. What's going on? No nvmrc. Okay, what's the latest nvm install v14, right?
14.13.1 is what I'm on.
14.15. Yeah, okay. Okay, I have a new laptop and I installed this, but it's not sticking around. So something I need to do some more. Okay, npm install eslint, save dev.
Do you want to talk about what that save dev tag is? I know we briefly touched on it last week.
Yeah. So right there, I'm installing eslint, which is our JavaScript linting tool, and it's going to, once it's installed, it's going to save it in this list of dev dependencies. So that makes sure that so when like Kelly clones the repo and runs npm install, eslint gets installed into the node modules folder over here in this nice big.
It's a good.
And let me grab the next one. So we want to next install the eslint plugin.
I just saw a question show up on
all along. I'll just
the
keep
video, but not in chat. This is my not understanding how Twitch works. But the question was, can you have two developers working on the same branch? And technically you can if they're editing different files, but it's not recommended that people work on the same branch. It's the whole reason why you're not pushing out directly to main, because you don't want to overwrite somebody else's work. So it's good practice to make sure everybody is using their own branch for each, or using a different branch for each feature or bug fix or whatever you're working on.
Yeah, you're going to get a lot of conflicts if you're working off the same branch, and it just gets messy really, really quickly.
Merge conflicts are not fun to deal with.
No, they never are. As good as you can become with Git, it just becomes a hassle. Any suggestions, Kelly, while this installs, any suggestions for learning theme development and lining?
I think linting.
idris-them, any, what do you mean by lining?
I think linting.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Yeah. For theme development, the documentation from Shopify is really solid for learning theme development. One of the best things you can do is, if you don't have a Shopify Partners account already, go ahead and create one and create a development store and just start playing around in there. Start learning how to build, unique features, change some things, break some things, whatever it might be, and make use of the theme documentation that's available, so you can kind of get the lay of the land. I'm actually working on an outline for a course that's going to be like an intro to Shopify theme development. So we'll see when that comes out. Probably 2021.
Sometime 20. Yeah, you've got Black Friday coming up. It's gonna be it's gonna be fun.
That's a week and a half away.
I know. Okay, so I've got so what I'm doing now in package.json is I'm adding the eslint config. So we've got basically I'm just telling it that yes, we have an environment that is the browser that we're ultimately building for. So we want to set the rules to be browser. And then I want to go back and I want to extend. So we want to use ESNext. Yeah. So we can just use this. It should work here. And so now what that's doing is including the Shopify ESNext plugin in our ESLint config. There we go. Save that. Do we have any JavaScript? We should set up a script, an npm script to run this.
Yeah.
First, actually. So we can create a lint command. Let's call it lint.js. And we should be able to just run eslint. And we want to lint, let's say, the scripts. Let's do scripts folder. Let's see if that works. Working off memory here. npm run lint.js. Oh, it's running. It's running. Is it working? Oh, okay. Well, no, we got two problems. Okay, this is good. Okay, so it's doing its job. So it spit out two errors. What is it saying? Parsing error. Okay, await is only allowed within async functions. So this rule is not up to date with the most recent version of Node, which I don't know if you guys remember. In the last stream, I was not getting await to work at the parent level, but you can do that now.
Oh, that's right.
You see now. So this you have to be running v14 of Node, and you have to set package JSON to you have to set the type to modules to make sure that you're working with modules. So ES modules, which ES modules is typically Node. You'll see that using the require syntax. So const so theme kit equals equals require um, require at Shopify theme kit. So typically you would see that in Node, and it's more of a no, I think V10 or V11 they pushed ES module support, which is just nice to work with. It's a different syntax, a bunch of different benefits to it. It's kind of in the ES. Are they still going by ES 2017 and ES 2018 and
They technically, those are the actual names.
yeah?
So
Okay.
they are actually, so like currently we're on ES 2020. We just are stuck in our ways of calling calling things basically from the last major version that we talked about, which was ES6, which would be what version was that? That would be ES 2015.
So this is actually getting a parsing error. It's not throwing a linting error, which is
Huh.
interesting. So I wonder we might not have. Actually, I'm going to do this app because we're coming up to time here. So what I'm going to do is I will just I'll get this set up and I'm going to create here. I'm going to create the PR right now so I can throw people the link. And I think we'll get back to this on the next stream. I think we can do a bit more on linting and what I wanted to squeeze into this episode, but I knew we probably wouldn't have time, and so we can bleed into that. And the next one is setting up continuous integration.
Yes.
Because what is better than having linting that runs automatically whenever you open up PRs or you want to automate all the things, right?
The more you can automate, the better. Yeah.
'Cause-
I do see one more question that we can answer. Is it too
Yeah.
late for developers to make money for Black Friday? So Black Friday is 9 days away. It is we're down to the wire here. There are definitely merchants who are wanting to make last minute code changes to their site or just need assistance with making some small theme customizations. I personally we're under a
It's too
code
late.
freeze already. So yes, it's like the only things that we're changing on code bases at this point are bug fixes. Like we're
Yeah.
not touching any new script or new features.
Merchant the last thing merchants want to be doing right now is messing around with their online store. They're
Yeah.
busy working with inventory, prepping marketing campaigns, and like at Shopify, it's really get your shit done by beginning of November. Otherwise,
Yep.
like merchants are going to be overloaded. Wait until December, or actually now it's more like wait until January because the whole holiday season is pretty chaotic for merchants.
Yeah.
Black Friday is the start of it, and then it just continues all the way through until Christmas.
And this year has been especially unique because people started their sales, beginning of November even. Prime Day was what, October 13th. So people started their holiday shopping and holiday sales much a long time ago. Even testing in QA, like I honestly I recommend to merchants, do not make anything that could potentially break your site at this point. Like don't even think about making those changes because the last thing you want to do is be on the hook for breaking something and messing up a sale. So it's just good practice.
Yeah. Even testing in QA, you could maybe get some. It depends if they've already tested. I'd like to think that merchants should be fairly confident at this point that things are working.
Yeah.
And I don't know what they would pay for. You know what, it would be a good gesture to, like, if you find something that's not working on a merchant site, to message them, and that might be a nice way of, like, a warm connection to make with them. They're like, hey, I saw this thing. You could fix it this and this way. Let me know if you need any more help. I think that's a legit way of. Cool. Thomas, my boss wants to know what camera you use. Has him look. Sony A6400 with a 16 millimeter 1.5 Sigma lens.
Nice.
I posted the link to the pull request. I'll do a little work while we're off, but we'll come back and we're going to we'll run through the final setup of how linting works. And I think the next time, yeah, we'll focus on CI. Um, I'd like to
Yep.
work with GitHub Actions. Have you done much with GitHub Actions, Kelly?
I haven't, and I would love to dig into that. So I'll do a little bit of research ahead of time so we're not flying, with absolutely no knowledge there.
I've done a. It looks fairly similar to like Circle CI or
Yeah.
I mean we have an internal
Travis.
build. It's all
Yeah.
kind of config based, so that should
Agreed.
be fun.
Yeah.
Um,
So yeah, for the Americans out there, enjoy Thanksgiving next week.
Happy
For
Thanksgiving.
the non-Americans out there, enjoy Thursday next week. And Black Friday, of course. Best of luck if you're a merchant. Uh, yes, the
And
turkey
get your deep
pillow.
fried turkey pillow. We're not I'm not plugging this for any reason. I just think it's amazing.
Also, Stouffer's has a merch store now, so you can buy like macaroni and cheese sweatsuits. So, I mean, you've got some really fun merch store options this year for fun Christmas gifts or fun holiday gifts.
and support some Shopify merchants while
That's
you're at it.
right.
Yeah.
Exactly. All
Cool.
right.
Till next time.
We'll see you in a couple weeks.
See you around.